Hello and welcome back. So last week we, got through another large section of the ruined temple. Um, Killed I think that was the rest of the cultists, so I suppose there could still be some back in the village who are not fit to fight. And also killed the High Dragon, which the cultists thought was the reincarnation of Andraste. I mean, it'd be kind of weird if it actually was the reincarnation of Andraste, but I highly doubt that. And this week we are going to go into the final section of the temple. At least, if I recall correctly, this is the final section. And then after that, if it's not been too long, probably go back to camp, talk to people. And after that, I will probably do a little bit more preparation before we actually go to Orzammar, which is going to be the next place. I mean, technically we could go to Redcliffe, but I feel like there'd be some plot stuff that I don't want to get to quite yet. But the preparation stuff I probably won't do on camera. Probably. But anyway, so let's go in and see what this part has for us. Bunch of broken weapons. I wonder if that implies anything.
This is not like the rest of the temple. This part is unblemished, untouched.
Unblemished? I mean, the heads have been knocked off some of the statues. I think that's kind of a blemish.
As you say.
I mean, realistically, I would not be looting the place right in front of Guardian, but you know what? It's a game.
I bid you welcome, pilgrim.
You must be the Guardian.
Yes, I am the guardian of the ashes. I have waited years for this.
For this? For me?
You are the first to arrive in a very long time. It has been my duty, my life, to protect the urn and prepare the way for the faithful who come to revere Andraste. For years beyond counting have I been here, and shall I remain until my task is done and the Imperium has crumbled into the sea.
The Imperium is no longer as powerful as it once was.
Ah, is it not? Then perhaps this is the beginning of the end.
Who are the men who have taken over the rest of the temple?
When my brethren and I carried Andraste from Tevinter to this sanctuary, we vowed to forever revere her memory and guard her. I have watched generations of my brethren take up the mantle of their fathers. For centuries they did this, unwavering, joyful in their appointed task. But now they have lost their way. They have forgotten Andraste and their promise.
So... the dragon was not Andraste.
No. Our Andraste has gone to the Maker's side. She will not return. The dragon is a fearsome creature, and they must have seen her as an alternative to the absent Maker and his silent Andraste. A true believer would not require audacious displays of power.
Yes, do not question. Yeah, it's kind of surprising that he's actually still alive from this. What do you know about these disciples of Andraste?
When my brethren and I carried Andraste from Tevinter to this sanctuary, we vowed to forever revere her memory and guard her. I have watched generations of my brethren take up the mantle of their fathers. For centuries
Why are we
they did
focusing on this statue in particular?
unwavering, joyful in their appointed task. But now they have lost their way. They have forgotten Andraste and their promise.
In a sense, they haven't forgotten her.
They have forgotten that Andraste was just a messenger. They speak no more of the Maker, only of their false Andraste, an even greater sin.
What can you tell me about the Urn of Sacred Ashes?
You already know that the urn contains the remains of the prophet Andraste. What else is there to tell?
Let's not waste time. How do I get to the urn?
You have come to honor Andraste, and you shall, if you prove yourself worthy.
I haven't really. I mean, I believe in the philosophy of the stone, so I'm really just here to grab something that should heal a guy I need. I need the ashes to cure a nobleman.
Still, you must prove yourself worthy. It is not my place to decide your worthiness. The gauntlet does that. If you are found worthy, you will see the urn and be allowed to take a small pinch of the ashes for yourself. If not...
What is the gauntlet? I mean, I probably understand it, but anyway.
The gauntlet tells the true pilgrims from the false. You will undergo 4 tests of faith, and we shall see how your soul fares.
Alright, let's get this over with then.
Before you go, there is something I must ask. I see that the path that led you here was not easy. There is suffering in your past. Your suffering, and the suffering of others. You allowed yourself to be manipulated by Balin, and you murdered your elder brother, Trian. Do you think you failed, Trian?
I think in the actual fight, I don't think I hit Trian at all. Not sure I would think of myself as having failed him. Yes, I should have known Balin would do that to us, though. I mean, usually Trian was hostile to me the whole time, and I had reason to.
Thank you. That is all I wish to know.
Is there any religion that does not thrive upon guilt, like a glutton at his lunch? No, I thought not.
Accept your failings, but do not let them govern your life.
Parshera, leave the past where it falls.
And what of those that follow you?
Ask your question, Guardian. I am ready.
You are ever the advisor, ready with a word of wisdom. Do you wonder if you spout only platitudes, burned into your mind in the distant past? Perhaps you are only a tool, used to spread the word of the circle and the chantry. Does doubt ever chip away at your truths?
You framed the statement in the form of a question, yet you already know our answers. There is no sense in hiding, is there? Yes, I do doubt at times. Only the fool is completely certain of himself.
Demand whatever answers you want, Spirit.
You came to this land as an observer, but you killed a family in a blind rage. Have you failed your people by allowing a Qunari to be seen in that light?
I have never denied that I failed.
And you, Morrigan, Flemeth's daughter, what?
Begone, spirit. I will not play your games.
I will respect your wishes. The way is open. Good luck, and may you find what you seek.
I'm not quite sure about interaction with Sten there, because I feel like my impression is that most of Thedas views Qunari as a spiritual and existential threat. Well, at least a spiritual threat. Alright. So I'm not entirely certain that they'd care terribly much about one of them having also like gone berserk and killed an entire family.
Yes.
Okay. Verona. Ilissa?
The smallest lark could carry it, while a strong man might not. Of what do I speak?
A coconut. The tune.
Yes, I was Andraste's dearest friend in childhood, and always we would sing. She celebrated the beauty of life, and all who heard her would be filled with joy. They say the Maker himself was moved by Andraste's song, and then she sang no more of simple things.
There's kind of a weird thing going on with the lips of these spirits. I mean, they partially see-through stuff. I'm sure it's something that like all of the characters have. It's really weird when you have them partially transparent. If I recall correctly, Brona is Andraste's mother.
Echoes from a shadow realm, whispers of things yet to come. Thought's strange sister dwells in night, is swept away by dawning light. Of what do I speak?
Indigestion. Dreams.
A dream came upon me as my daughter slumbered beneath my heart. It told of her life, and of her betrayal and death. I am sorrow and regret. I am a mother weeping bitter tears for a daughter she could not save.
That's an interesting description of a child. Sleeping underneath the mother's heart, which I suppose that is accurate in some ways. The Shartan. So, Shartan, I believe, was there's an elvish slave revolt at the same time as Andraste's his revolt. And I believe that Shartan was supposed to be the leader of that.
I'd neither a guest nor a trespasser be. In this place I belong, that belongs also to me. Of what do I speak? It was my dream for the people to have a home of their own, where we would have no masters but ourselves. The enemy of my enemy is my friend, and thus we followed Andraste against the Imperium. But she was betrayed, and so were we.
Okay. Lady Cilia. For some reason I want to say that... Yeah, I'm not actually sure. For some reason I feel like there was like someone who asked for Andraste to be killed, and it might have been her, but I think I can be completely wrong about that. Anyway.
An eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. The debt of blood must be paid in full. Of what do I speak?
Vengeance.
Yes, My husband Hissarion would have chosen a quick death for Andraste. I made him swear that she would die publicly with her war leaders, that all would know the Imperium's strength. I am justice. I am vengeance. Blood can only be repaid in blood.
I'm not sure if I agree with you there. That was more or less right. Mafrith, Andraste's husband. Broken urn? Hey. Hi, great betrayer. The kind of curious thing with the story of Andraste is that I don't think that it would have been necessary for the completion of her story for her to actually die. It's been a divergence from the, like, just kind of a Christ figure, but Christ figure in order to do what at least the modern church says, Christianity says that he should, had to die. Andraste, I don't think, would have had to in order to do what she was supposed to do.
A poison of the soul, passion's cruel counterpart. From love she grows, till love lies slain. Of what do I speak?
Jealousy.
Yes, jealousy drove me to betrayal. I was the greatest general of the Alamari, but beside her I was nothing. Hundreds fell before her on bended knee. They loved her, as did the Maker. I loved her too. But what man can compare with a god?
Cother and Archon Hissarion. You, I don't know who you are.
No man has seen it, but all men know it. Lighter than air, sharper than any sword. Comes from nothing, but will fell the strongest armies. Of what do I speak?
Hunger, I believe that is.
Yes. Hunger was the weapon used against the wicked men of the Tiventer Imperium. The Maker kindled the sun's flame, scorching the land. Their crops failed, and their armies could not march. Then he opened the heavens and bade the waters flow, and washed away their filth. I am Cather, disciple of Andraste and commander of her armies. I saw these things done, and knew the Makers smiled on us.
I mean, yes, as I understand, there was famine after... Oh, we got another person here to talk to. Famine after the first Blight, but I would have thought that would have been owing to, you know, the 2 centuries of war with an enemy would just destroyed everything. Anyway.
The bones of the world stretched towards the sky's embrace, veiled in white, like a bride greeting her groom. Of what do I speak?
The mountains, though. What? No, the, like, bride wearing white, I think, is only a relatively recent thing in European circles.
Yes. I carried Andraste's ashes out of Tevinter into the mountains to the east, where she could gaze ever into her Maker's sky. No more fitting a tomb than this could we find.
Hello, Hissarion. Just had a talk with your wife. How's it going?
She wields the broken sword, and separates true kings from tyrants. Of what do I speak?
Mercy.
Yes. I could not bear the sight of Andraste's suffering, and Mercy bade me end her life. I am the penitent sinner, who shows compassion as he hopes compassion will be shown to him.
Alright. successfully passed through that.
Greetings, my exiled brother. I would lament your fate, but why should I? You have been cast out to walk the surface, whereas I... You allowed Balin to make you his lackey. Are you proud of what you've done?
Of course not.
I know it has been hard for you. You were called Kinslayer, exiled. My brother, I know you are haunted by shame and regret. Let the past stay in the past. Take this and use it well. I give you this and my blessing. Remember me.
Yeah, I can almost guarantee that was not Trian. Yes. Dwarves? Don't go into the beyond at all. But what did he give me? Any of that? Reflection? Alright. Ourselves. Andraste loved her disciples, she loved her maker, we have...
Do you think those interesting-looking sections of floor on the side of this chasm have something to do with getting across?
What good is an incorporeal bridge? Are we supposed to imagine ourselves on the other side?
Maybe.
What is it? It looks solid enough, but toss a rock before you risk it.
Now just find the next one. That looks... Nope, not yet. sure which one. Well, let's see what happens. All right. Okay.
Warden?
Only one of us needs to cross this chasm.
Okay.
Hmm.
I mean, fortunately, I didn't make. Let's see.
Shall we?
Okay,
Where
Morgan.
to?
So, just one more. So right forward.
Let us be careful.
Two left, 5.
Finally!
Indeed. Oh, great. Hmm. Check the altar. This altar is little more than a dusty stone slab commanded on inscription's carved face. Cast off the trappings of worldly life and cloak yourself in the goodness of spirit, king and slave, lord and beggar, born anew in the Maker's sight. Remove equipment.
You have been through the trials of the gauntlet. You have walked the path of Andraste, and like her, you have been cleansed. You have proven yourself worthy, pilgrim. Approach the sacred ashes.
Where did everyone go?
I stand in awe. Really?
I could not have asked for a greater honor than to be here. I will never forget this feeling.
Congratulations. You found a waste bin.
These the earthly remains of Andraste, prophet and bride of the Maker. It is kind of curious how they associate flames with her death, and not, for instance, the sword which actually killed her. Take a pinch of the ashes. You take a pinch of the ashes and place it in a leather pouch. Leave the urn. You stand for the urn of sacred ashes. Leave the urn alone. Unfortunate adventurer. Alright, now time to get rid of some things. I suspect the quartz is entirely quartz in the feldspar. Let's do the fountain cup. Chest, which I can open.
Very well.
Okay. And another chest. Okay. Leveled up again. Cool, and I think I usually go out that door. I'll try going out this door instead. Oh, looks the same. That is the way to the caverns. Dead Andraste. Thing is, you don't actually have to fight Andraste. Or this high dragon. I don't remember exactly what happens if you just leave in here. I think maybe there's something like about it having, like they kill it later, like as like pilgrims come in, and they find out like, oh yeah, there is one, so they end up attracting people to come in and get rid of it, so the pilgrims can actually make it to the temple.
Welcome back. You were gone for quite some time. Well, did you find it?
The urn? Yes.
What was it like, coming to the urn, I mean?
It's just a stone flask with a burnt woman inside. I mean, that's probably how I'd see it.
It may be that to you, but means so much more to thousands of people. Perhaps my research will not seem so much like blasphemy to the Chantry now. We must organize an expedition. There is so much history here, it must be studied. And pilgrims should be allowed to come to the urn.
So one thing I'd comment on is I feel like this guy would be really cold, like frostbite in ears, something like have a hat, coat, maybe. And honestly, I don't. For this particular character, I don't think he would particularly care. I mean, it's not his religion. Yes, it should be shared with the world. I mean, I don't know. I'm gonna go with this is not wise. Many will try to exploit this discovery.
But the urn belongs to all the faithful. How can you deny this to them? No, we must share it.
You have noble intentions, Brother Genitivi. But can you say the same of your brethren in the Chantry?
Deny them a corpse? Unthinkable indeed.
Yes, share it. Spread the word, and more will come under the Chantry's power. Is this not what you want?
I will spread this good news or die trying.
If something bad comes of this, it's your fault.
I must return home. I have much to do. If you ever find yourself in Denerim, please visit me. I am not a rich man, but I have a small collection of interesting artifacts, and I do owe you a reward for coming to my rescue. I hope to see you soon, my friend.
Alright. And out we go. Camp. All right. Good Dr. Jury. Okay. I won't pet you while you're peeing. Severin, how's it going?
I've a question, if I may.
Go ahead.
Well, here's the thing. I swore an oath to serve you, yes? And I understand the quest you're on, and this is all very fine and well. My question pertains to what you intend to do with me once this business is over with, as a point of curiosity.
Well, now, I mean, as a nobleman, I could probably find use for an assassin. Personal assassin, sworn to me. But I'm not exactly a nobleman anymore. I'm Grey Warden. And, I mean, we don't really need Darkspawn assassinated. You could go if you wanted.
Could I? And what if I didn't wish to leave?
I could always use a friend.
Indeed. I might even be glad to call myself such, come to think of it. It is good to know what my options might be, but that is for another time. For now, we have much to do, yes?
Yes, we do. Hello, Win.
What's on your mind?
I was just thinking about being a Grey Warden.
Is something troubling you?
Sometimes I wish I could go back to my old life.
A Grey Warden should put aside the person that he used to be. It has shaped the person that he is, but he has become something greater. Grey Wardens have no titles. They owe no allegiance to a king or lord. They cannot serve one people. They must serve them all and protect them all. You are one of the 2 surviving Grey Wardens in Ferelden. You defend all of us, and much rests on your shoulders. It may not mean much to you, but thank you for having the courage to continue to fight.
Though Grey Wardens do have titles, like for instance, Commander of the Grey. I don't give up easily.
And that gives me hope.
Hello, Liliana.
Do you remember our discussion?
Yes, of course.
I just wanted to tell you that I thought about what you told me, and you were right. Despite what Marjolaine says, I am not like her. I know that now. I have found peace in knowing the Maker, and nothing will change that. I followed you to make the world a better place, and as long as I keep that in mind, I will not fall. Sometimes, it takes another to show us the truths we hide from ourselves.
It was my pleasure.
I'm glad I left Lothering in your company. You have proven a true friend, and I thank the Maker for you.
Alistair. Hi.
Ask away.
I have some questions.
Of course.
Tell me about the Grey Wardens.
Such as they are.
I have no more questions.
About the Grey Wardens, anyhow. Fair enough. Ask away.
Never mind. I wonder if it's going to end up being like talking with Sten, though I suppose I think we might have had an increase in... Yeah. My standing with Sten, so maybe there's going to be more?
Yes.
I have a question.
I am hardly surprised.
Never mind.
Very well.
I want to discuss something you mentioned.
Speak, then.
That's enough for now.
Then I suggest we move on.
Let's go.
As you wish.
Shale, how's it going?
I've watched a lot of humans in my time. It should be aware that I've decided that it is not much like any of them.
I'm not a human. I am a dwarf. I think you'd recognize that. Because I'm not human?
Oh, it's not just that. Well, I'm sure that's part of it, but it's not only that. Surely it must come from some superior lineage, yes? Some breed of flesh creature that has decided to elevate its genetic stock above its natural shortcomings?
Okay, Middle Ages, they would not have the concept of genetics. But I mean, yeah, I was a prince. We would probably consider ourselves to be a superior lineage. I am a member of House Aeduk, in fact.
Then, that must be it. My experience with dwarves is limited, but obviously I need to encounter more of them. I would appreciate if it didn't spread around that I said anything. Humans might start to get the wrong idea. They might start thinking their race is not completely hopeless.
And we wouldn't want that.
Indeed. Can it imagine the horror? Oh. Now, let us crush something into a fine paste before it starts to think I've gone all soft. Perish the thought.
Okay, let's see. Do I have anything to say to... Alright, give me a minute. Hello, Morgan.
Your desire?
I'd like to ask you something.
So, full of questions, are you?
So Flemis is dead. What now?
Now I have enough time to study Mother's grimoire to find a way to prevent her from stealing my body in the future. For she will be back. One day, I have no doubt of that. And if I cannot protect myself, One day I will track her down again in whatever body she inhabits, and she will die again and again if need be. But there is no need to think of such things now. I have you to thank for saving me, so let us return to the task of dealing with the Darkspawn, no?
You know, the fact that she apparently isn't permanently dead, that might have been something you could have mentioned. Might have made it a little bit easier to actually help you. I will always protect you, Morgan.
You should not be so... You have no idea what will happen in days to come to make such promises. Let us go. There is much to be done before... There is still much to be done.
Yeah.
Your desire?
I'd like to discuss something personal. Nah. I was considering, guessing her, but I don't think I'll do that this time. Alright. Time to do some boring stuff. Alright, mission check. Is there anything I want to use? So one thing that I've heard about bows is that really shouldn't be a thing of like dexterity is required to be able to use them. It's a lot more strength based. I mean, dexterity could certainly make it more accurate, but in order to actually draw the bow, that's strength. So. And I made Wayne a blood mage. That amuses me. Intent charge, no. Ultra swords, no. Golden ring. Alright.
You and your friends are formidable folk, indeed. It's good to have you along on the road.
I'd like to see your wares brought on.
I'm sure you'll be pleased with the goods my boy and I have collected, and with your discount.
Alright, I need the axes. Those, don't need that.
You are wise to invest in the effectiveness of your followers.
Okay, now I'm going to head off.
Yes.
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 Because I think that might be an interesting combination. Right. Go to Soldier's Peak. Circuitous route, but that was through the mountains.
Yes.
What can I do for you, Warden? Certainly.
camp.
Very well.
Yes.
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 Magic exists to serve man and never to rule over him. Foul and corrupt are they who have taken his gift and turned it against his children.
Okay.
They shall be named Malefico, accursed ones.
Hello, Sister Justine.
Strange that matters can be so tumultuous and yet the day still be so bright.
Oh, my pardon. Just thinking aloud. Are you here for the Chanter's Board?
Who are you?
I am Sister Justine, curator of the reliquary of this chantry. And pride again. It is hard to live up to the example of Andraste.
What's a curator do?
The archivist tends the books, and I tend the sacred relics. I also search for more to add to our collection, which is more difficult than it sounds.
What's hard about that?
A hawker on the street will claim to have an actual finger bone of Andraste. In this city alone, you could make the skeleton of 10 prophets from fingers alone. Curators often accept them as genuine. I worry about the authenticity of even our most holy artifacts.
How difficult is it to verify a relic?
When I was a curator of a much smaller chantry in Orlais, I thought that false relics slipped through because of laziness. But the life of the cloth is never an easy one, and that explanation always seemed hollow to me. Now I believe it's the seduction of the divine. We all want a personal connection to the Maker. We want to believe that what we hold in our hands is the actual sandal that slipped from Andraste's foot before the fires consumed her. Faith is of the heart, not of the head. When the heart is ungoverned by reason, charlatans have powerful tools to deceive.
I'd like to talk about something else.
Of course, sir. On what topic?
How many real relics have you found?
Well, there's one that might be real. I couldn't prove it wasn't. Perhaps you can understand my skepticism. So many claims, so few truths.
Do you think the Urn of Sacred Ashes is real?
Certainly. My research indicates that all of the ashes were gathered into a pot or urn, but it's been lost for centuries. That doesn't stop hawkers from selling pinches of the ashes of Andraste to gullible pilgrims. The real ashes may still be hidden somewhere, though it's possible the urn broke.
Could you tell me about your job?
You've shown admirable patience listening to my diatribe before. I will not bore you again. Suffice it to say, I look for and authenticate holy relics for the chantry.
I've got to go. Farewell.
Of course. Enjoy your visit to the chantry.
Okay. Try that again.
Nice to see you again.
I found these scrolls in a Tevinter ruin.
Really? Oh, pardon my incredulity. I would like to examine them in any event.
Be careful with them. They seem ancient.
Let me see. The scrolls are old, no question, and the script. It's written in cipher. Early believers used them to keep their writings safe from the Tevinter Magus. These could be authentic. Please, let me examine it.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't value them terribly. Here you go.
I need parchment, quill, and ink.
What was the trick to the cipher again? Ah. I examined your scrolls. I know a few of the early Chantry ciphers, but I'm not fully familiar with this one. The bits I have made out. This may be an account of Maferath's final days, and perhaps more.
Maferath, as in Andraste's husband?
I know. It's remarkable. The same Maferath who betrayed our prophet and saw her burn alive in Minrath Rus. If we could get a real translation, well, it could be the find of our lifetime.
Minrath Rus. Usually heard as Minrathus, but I mean, different pronunciations, different accents, and such. How long will it take to decipher?
It could take months. The ciphers were designed to be difficult for the Magisters to decrypt. Who knows what secrets we can uncover, what truths we can find. Here is all of the allowance I have for acquisitions. Take it and go. 1,000 blessings.
So, there's actually things I've heard about how people like throughout history would try to authenticate old relics, documents, and that such as best they could. I mean, yeah, they didn't have the resources that we have modernly in today's age, but they try.
They shall be named Malefica, a cursed world.
The Mages Collective thanks you. Make us smile upon you.
Cool. Anything more? Nope. Alright. I think there's something I can do with Wade's.
Welcome back. You looking for fine armor?
I'm here about Drake scales.
Of course.
He's back! He's back! Have you reconsidered? I can make such fine armor with your scales.
How much will it cost?
Cost? I should be paying you, friend, for the right, no, the privilege.
Pay him? No, Wade, no. We'll charge you.
I hear nothing of that, Heron. This is my shop, and working on Drake scales won't cost a bloody Orlesian penny.
I'll pay 10 sovereigns. Make it good and quick.
Excellent. You won't regret it. Think of the possibilities, Heron. Think of it.
I'm trying to stop. You're here about your order?
I've barely even begun, and you're pestering me.
Oh, get back to work. Come to see our fine goods before they sell out?
How are you getting by?
Oh, marvelously. Wade isn't doing any more orders today, and I have the joy of dealing with customers who had orders that were supposed to be done today. Walk the streets carefully. If some people knew you were the one with the Drake scales, well, it wouldn't be pretty.
Farewell.
Come again.
And I realize that I don't have the right party for what I am planning on doing. So. Okay. Go again.
Indeed.
Indeed.
Yes.
This will be interesting. Back to Denerim.
Good to see you, Warden. Fighting the good fight, eh?
See you later.
Right you are.
Okay. Pop him to see if... Ah.
You're here about your order?
It's done. I made the armor. And it's garbage. I wouldn't let a festering swine wear it.
Wade, it's amazing. I don't see anything wrong with it.
Are you blind as well as stupid? The leg guards are too tight. It'll chafe. The dye isn't even... Look here. I see a splotch. It's garbage, I say.
It's fine. Truly. It's a work of art. Here, wear it well. Now kindly leave.
Did you bring more scales? I want to try again. I've learned so much.
Wade, please leave the customer alone. How can I help you?
I have more Drake scales.
You must be kidding. We're done. No...
Heron, more scales. I can make another set.
Dear Andraste, no.
I've been thinking every night about what I'd do different. It's all in my head. Dear Heron, don't worry. I can make it faster this time.
You can?
You worry too much. Just give me the scales, friend, and I'll have my finest work for you.
Here's 20 sovereigns for incentive. I want it perfect.
Perfect, you say? Well, there are a few alterations I could make. I'll close up the shop then. No more new orders. Think of the possibilities.
Well, Heron, you should be at least happy with the fact that the shop's not being closed for nothing.
It's nice to see you two together. Love is such a wonderful thing, isn't it?
What are you talking about? Is this more of your insipidness?
I was talking about you and the Grey Warden. You don't think the rest of us haven't noticed, I hope?
Or heard.
There is nothing to notice. What you call love is nothing more than a wishful fancy.
Oh, you don't fool me. Deep down inside, you must be glad of it.
Let me tell you one thing, and let us speak of it no more. Love is a weakness. Love is a cancer that grows inside and makes one do foolish things. Love is death. The love you dream of is something that would be more important to one than anything, even life. I know no such love.
Oh.
What I know is passion, the respect of equals. Things far more valuable that I'll not speak to you of any further. Now be gone.
Interesting. Let's check the armor. Fine. Yeah, that's pretty good. That's... And I can't use them, just not strong enough. Rat and Denerim.
What can I get you, stranger?
Let me see what you have.
Right, I'll show you around.
You have.
Dwarven crafts. Fine Dwarven crafts. Direct from Orzammar. Won't find better. Oh my.
You're awake. Did you feel it too? It was like the archdemon saw us. Saw us! What does that mean? I think... Wait. Did you hear that? I guess it's like Duncan once said. We can sense them, and they can sense us. We'd best be more careful from now on. This camp isn't safe any longer.
Will they send next? Darkspawn tax collectors?
Location should be built around the camp.
How unnerving.
It will be more difficult to sleep here now.
What, no trap? No ambush? Some assassins.
Ask away.
Another dream about the Dark Archdemon.
Yes, me too. And I got the feeling at the end there that it saw us, was aware of us, whatever you want to call it. Could have just been my imagination, I suppose. What do you think?
I think we need to be extra careful.
I thought we were already being extra careful. Does that mean we have to be extra careful now? Great. There I was, enjoying my nap. I guess one thing is certain at least, isn't it? It's official. This is a blight.
Okay. Hi.
What say you?
Okay. Answer questions.
By all means.
Do you actually enjoy being an assassin?
And why not? There are many things to enjoy about being a crow in Antiva. You are respected, you are feared, the authorities go out of their way to overlook your trespasses, even the rewards are nothing to turn your nose up at. As for the killing part, well, some people simply need assassinating. Or do you disagree?
Oh, you're probably right. I mean, I'm a dwarf.
I often find myself the instrument of fate, ending these lives for one necessity or another. I console myself with the notion that most of them had it coming. As far as enjoying the act of killing itself, Why not? There is a certain artistry to the deed. The pleasure of sinking your blade into their flesh and knowing that their life is in your hands.
I take no pleasure in... I know what you mean.
There are many things I did not enjoy about being a crow, of course. Having no choice, being treated as an expendable commodity, the rules. Oh, so many rules. But simply being an assassin, I like it just fine. I will continue to do it if I can, even if I am not a crow. Honestly, could you picture me doing something else?
Why not? You can do whatever you like.
Whereas I am content merely doing what I happen to be good at. It's a talent that not many come by, honestly. I don't see why I need not pursue it. Of course, all these thoughts are moot. Chances are still good that you and I will perish, eaten by darkspawn or slain by the crows at some point. Very gruesomely, I imagine. But it is pleasant enough to chat about. Come, let's move on while our boots still have some wear in them.
Cool.
Have you heard much about the Grey Wardens of old?
I know they soared through the skies on griffins.
Griffins. Alas, that seems to be the only thing people remember from the tales. The mighty flying mounts that bore the Grey Wardens into battle.
Well, I wish I had a griffin.
Unfortunately, they've all passed back into the Maker's hand. So that wish will have to go unfulfilled. It was said that watching the Wardens ride in on their white griffins was enough to rouse a weary heart and put the dance back in the step of an old man. The Grey Wardens were powerful, feared and respected, but they also inspired the common people. I remember a tale that was told to me many years ago.
Go on.
The Blight had ravaged the land for months, and the armies of the great kings had amassed for one last stand. As the sun burst through the clouds that boiled and churned in the dark sky above, it illuminated a vast, seething horde of darkspawn, with the archdemon at its head. And it was then, when courage seemed to fail, and all lost to death and despair, that the Grey Wardens came. They arrived with the beating of wings like mighty war drums and stood before the armies of men.
And what happened then?
The Grey Wardens, grim and fearless, marched forth, ever between the men and the encroaching darkspawn. They formed a shield of their own bodies and held that line until the archdemon was dead, and the last darkspawn lay trampled in the dirt. And then, demanding neither reward nor recognition for their sacrifice, the Grey Wardens departed. When the clouds finally rolled back, and the sun shone full upon the blighted ground, the great kings knew that they had lost no men, and none of their blood had been spilled.
This story isn't about a specific battle, is it?
You are observant. This is a tale about no battle the Grey Wardens have fought, and yet about them all. They have always defended us from the Darkspawn, taking losses so we do not have to. People may have forgotten over the centuries, but nothing has changed. This knowledge has been blessing and burden to Grey Wardens past, and now it shall be your blessing and your burden.
Liliana,
Something I can help with?
I'd like to talk to you about something.
Yes? What's on your mind?
You are a traveling minstrel. Do you have any tales to share?
Of course I do. I love stories far too much to keep them to myself. Everyone should be able to benefit from them, I think.
Do you know any... tell me about the Darkspawn.
Chantry lore says it is man's pride that created the Darkspawn. In ages past, the mages of the Tevinder Imperium ruled much of the world we know. In their pride, they thought their magics invincible and imagined that they were greater than the Maker himself. So thinking, they invaded his golden city, planning to take it for themselves and depose their own creator. But they were impure and full of sin, and it is with the sin that they tainted the golden city, corrupting it forever. The Maker cursed them and cast them from his sight. Wherever they went, they spread the taint of their sin. Any land that was touched by the taint became blighted and would suffer no life. Instead, the Darkspawn arose to torment us and remind us of our hubris.
Do you know any stories from Orlais?
Of course, Orlesians enjoy telling stories. I shall tell you my favorite tale of Aveline, the Knight of Orlais.
That sounds interesting.
A long time ago, a girl child was born to a farmer. He had hoped for a son, not a daughter, and so he told his wife to abandon the child in the woods. Before the cold could claim her, the baby was found by a tribe of Dalish elves who took pity on the poor mewling thing and raised her as their own. Aveline, for that is what they called her, grew strong and quick and clever under the guidance of the elves. She learned to wield the sword as well as any man, could kill a deer with an arrow at 100 paces, and was as graceful on the back of a horse as she was on foot.
Continue, please.
Aveline's Dalish guardians saw that she could easily best any Orlesian chevalier in battle, and wanted to show the cruel humans the child they had left to die. They bestowed upon her a fine horse and armor, and sent her to prove herself to her people in the grand tourney. Now in those days, no woman was allowed to take up arms, let alone compete in the grand tourney, but Aveline kept her helmet on and was not discovered.
Did she win the tourney?
Aveline won many events and gained the approval of the adoring crowd. Eventually, she came face to face with the knight Kaleva in the grand melee. Aveline had already bested him in the joust, and Kaleva was determined not to lose a second time. Out of desperation to regain his honor, Kaleva tripped Aveline and tossed her to the ground, ripping off her helmet as he did so. Silence fell upon the arena as Aveline was revealed. Kaleva declared the previous competitions invalid. A woman had taken part, and this was not allowed. But the crowd cheered for Aveline. Kaleva was furious, for he had lost to a woman and was now being shamed. Blinded by his rage, he forced Aveline to her knees. "Know your place, woman," cried he, and slit her throat.
That's terrible.
The son of the king, Prince Freyan, was present. He recognized Aveline's skill and bravery and began to see the injustice done to the women in his land. When he was made king, he rewrote the laws of Orlais so that women could also become chevalier. He honored Aveline and knighted her after her death. And to this day, any female who is knighted reveres Aveline the Brave, for she is the patron of all women chevalier.
Do you know any Ferelden legends?
I know one, told to me by my mother a long time ago. It always chilled me to the bone. Maybe you have heard of Flemeth?
Flemeth? Morgan's mother was called Flemeth?
Are you sure? Was she the Flemeth of legend? Flemeth, the devourer of men? Flemeth, mother of witches? Flemeth, demon-touched, who dwells in the mists.
She looked like your average old woman. I mean, aside from when she turned into a dragon.
Well, if Flemeth really exists, she would be very, very old indeed. Ferelden mothers scare their daughters with talk of Flemeth. They say that if you're bad, Flemeth will spirit you away and bind you to her forever. They also say that Flemeth mourns her lost beauty and will steal yours through your looking glass if she catches you.
Tell me the whole story.
Flemeth's beauty was known throughout the land. She had hair like unto a moonless night, skin as pale as winter's first snow, and eyes as beautiful and perilous as the sea. When she came of age, she came to the attention of the Lord of Highever, Conobar, and he took her for his wife. Conobar soon learned that his young bride had the gift of magic. He kept this a secret, for he feared that she would be taken from him. Flemeth stayed with Conobar for some years, and with his blessing, she practiced her art. And then one day, a young poet named Osen came to the castle. Flemeth was captivated by Osen's voice, and he by her beauty, and they fell in love.
Ooh, the plot thickens.
Flemeth longed to be with her true love, and she and Osen fled from Conobar's lands, seeking refuge in the Kokari wilds with the Chasing tribes. They lived there happily for many a year, till the day Flemeth received news that Conobar was dying and longed to see her face one last time. Flemeth's heart swelled with pity for the man who once was her husband, and begged Osen to return to Conobar's side with her. But when Flemeth and Osen entered Highever, they were captured by Conobar's men, and Osen was slain in front of Flemeth's eyes. Flemeth was imprisoned in the highest tower of the castle, there to await Conobar's judgment on her. Distraught at the loss of her love, Flemeth plotted revenge against her husband. She summoned a fey demon, intending for it to wreak vengeance on Conobar. But a spell went awry. The demon possessed Flemeth. Turning her into an abomination, the halls of the castle ran red with blood as Flemeth slaughtered Conobar and all his men. The last of Flemeth's humanity melted away, and at dawn, she stole back to the wilds to plot and scheme for 100 years. They say she took to her side many Chasing men, and with their help, begat her daughter witches, who even now prowl the dark places of the Kokari wilds.
There was another story I wanted to hear.
Which one?
Do you know anything about the Dalish?
I have heard a little about how the elves gained their freedom from the Tevinter Imperium. When Andraste began her exalted march against the Imperium, the elves joined her cause to fight their masters. The great elven leader, Shatan, born in captivity, rose up to lead his people. He foresaw a future where the elves were free. Shatan was killed when Andraste was betrayed, but the elves continued to fight, eventually breaking free of the Imperium. The elves claimed the Dales in the south and settled there in the land of their own.
It didn't last.
The elves lived in the Dales for centuries. They resurrected the worship of the elven gods and would allow the building of no chantry. This angered the chantry, and the hostility between the two factions finally broke out in open war. The chantry says the elves struck first, but I do not know whether to believe it. The chantry declared a holy exalted march against the elves, named for Andraste's similar march against Tevinter. During the exalted march of the Dales, the elven cities were sacked, and the elven state completely dissolved. Some of the elves bitterly accepted their fates and surrendered to human rule, living in the human cities as second-class citizens. But others, still fiercely proud of their heritage, refused to bow to the humans, and instead became homeless wanderers. They were the elves of the Dales, the Dalish.
What do you know about Andraste?
Andraste was the Maker's chosen. The Maker had long since abandoned the world when the sound of her singing turned his ear. Beauty, grace, and wisdom enraptured him, and he offered to take her from this flawed world to become his divine bride. But Andraste had an earthly husband and would not forsake him. Instead, she beseeched the Maker to return to his people once more. So earnest was her plea that the Maker was moved, and promised that he would create a paradise on earth if all abandoned their false gods and turned once more to him. And this is why Andraste began her exalted march on the idolaters of the Tevinter Imperium. The Maker granted her his powers with which to smite her enemies. Andraste brought the Imperium to its knees, and her victories converted many to the worship of the Maker.
That's the sort of thing that could have happened. Where it's like, okay, so these people are marching with their gods, and they are winning, and we're marching with our gods, and we're losing, so maybe that is what is right. How did Andraste die?
Alas, it was the frailties of men that betrayed and killed Andraste. Her earthly husband, Mafarath, a chieftain of the Alamari tribes himself, grew jealous as his wife's popularity and influence overshadowed his own. She was also revered as the Maker's betrothed, and Mafarath began to see their own bond waning in significance as Andraste became ever more devoted to the Maker. Out of envy and spite, Mafarath made a pact with the Archon Hysarian of Tevinter, allowing his beloved Andraste to be ambushed and captured. Andraste was burned at the stake in Minrathous, the capital of Tevinter.
Minrathous has a chantry, doesn't it?
The Tevinter chantry claims that in Andraste's last moments, Hysarian's heart softened, and he heard the voice of the Maker telling him to end her suffering. He plunged his sword into her heart, and as her blood washed over his hands, he became one of the faithful. Dissenters said that the Archon only converted because he could not stem the tide of Andraste's cult, and was forced to do so to stay in power. We will never know for sure.
That is kind of surprising that she actually knows that. Let's just move on. Stan.
Yes. As you wish.
Don't think I'll bother trying.
It speaks.
I have some questions.
It doesn't have better things to do.
You don't seem to like humans much.
That is true. I do not. I'm not interested in getting into a discussion on the subject, however. Ask another time. If it is done asking overly obvious questions, let us find some humans to throw off a cliff, or something.
Okay. Hey, Morgan.
Your desire?
Alright.
Indeed.
Yes.
Yes.
See if I can make it to where I originally wanted to go.
You really killed all those abominations? I didn't think it was possible. I thought we'd all die here. I'm sure you need supplies after that, don't you?
Alright, let's trade. Okay, so yes, I do have
Dwarven crafts. Fine dwarf. Dwarven crafts. Direct from Orzammar.
You do your father proud, my lord.
May I see your wares?
Certainly. You do me great honor, my lord.
How much? It's 250.
We're closed. Oh, it's you.
The Drake scale armor is done. And it's, well, decent. Few things I'm rather proud of. And it didn't take as long as I feared. Odd.
You'd better be very proud, Wade. We can't afford any more flights of fancy.
I feel good, actually. I wouldn't mind working on Lord such-and-such's armor today.
We'll see how long this lasts. Here's your armor. Now, please leave.
But I paid 20 sovereigns for him to do that.
Welcome. Oh, it's you. Please leave. And if you have any more scales, you can shove them.
Actually, I have some dragon scales.
You just don't know when to quit.
Why so glum, Heron? Today is a glorious day. Today, I make dragon scale armor.
I feel just giddy.
What can you make with it?
Patience, patience. Now, I've dreamed of what I would do every night. It's in my head in perfect clarity. It will be the work of hours.
What? You're serious?
Absolutely. The only question is what type of armor. Dragon scale is marvelous, flexible and tough. I could make a lighter set of dragon skin armor, heavy dragon scale armor, or dragon bone plate. What interests you?
Dragon bone plate.
Excellent, excellent. Now don't move. There you go. My life's work, that is.
You did it so fast.
Of course, Heron. Have some faith. I am a master armorer, you know.
Miracles never cease. But you're not welcome here anymore.
I need a sabbatical. Maybe someplace warm.
I hate my life. Welcome. Oh, it's you. Please leave. And if you have any more scales, you can shove them. Yeah, just leave.
Oh, I guess I don't get to shop here anymore. Oh, well.
Sten is not a name, is it?
Do you always begin conversations this way?
It's your rank, is it not? I've met a few Kunari in Antiva, you know. Not much for conversation, but some of them are quite easy on the eyes.
Those are not Kunari.
No? They are what then? Very large dwarves with comical accents?
They wear the faces of Kunari, but they are Tal Vashoth, fiends of Saheron. They have abandoned the Qun.
With titles like your own, though, which makes me curious. What is your name, then?
Sten is enough.
But it is not your name.
It is who I am.
Alright. Anyway, that is where I'm going to call it for this one. So, at this point, next stop should be Orzammar. Alright. And, anyway, thank you for watching. doing relevant things with YouTube's buttons, and have a nice day.